Hey guys, Abel here, back with another video, and in today's video I want to talk about needless limiters in your training and factors that you're probably worried about when you're trying to put together a training routine for yourself, whereas in reality you should not be worried about these things much at all. The things that are going to feature on today's list are ideas or concepts which originally were there to help you and to make programming for our training more intuitive and practical. But as it so often happens in fitness, when an idea gets too much attention or gets overused, it can turn something practical or helpful into something downright disadvantageous or paralyzing. So the first thing on our list is the idea that your training should perfectly follow the Gregorian calendar or perfectly fit onto a 7-day schedule. So if you look up the training programs of most famous bodybuilders, or if you ask most people in the gym about how their training routines are structured, you will usually hear things like Monday chest, Tuesday legs, Wednesday arms, or maybe Monday is push, Tuesday pull, Wednesday legs. And there is nothing inherently wrong about this. In fact, it's totally understandable and reasonable to try to fit your training into a 7-day rotation, because as arbitrary as this 7-day schedule is and the Gregorian calendar is, at the end of the day, it is still the reality of life. Most of us operate according to that schedule. Most of our obligations and even activities done for fun are scheduled according to this 7-day week. So it makes sense to try to fit training into that as well. Now, we are meshing two concepts here a little bit. One is the Gregorian calendar one, so aligning certain training days with certain specific days of this Gregorian calendar, like Monday and Tuesday. And the other one is trying to fit your training routine into a 7-day rotation. Both of these concepts are arbitrary. There is nothing magical about a 7-day schedule, and there's also nothing magical about having chest day on Monday. However, while there is nothing magical about it in theory, practically speaking, there are benefits to at least track your training according to a 7-day rotation. Reason being that most of the data that we have on training volume, be it anecdotal or research-based, is done so according to this 7-day rotation. So basically, any lifter or coach that you follow, if you ask them about how much training volume they are doing or how much they are programming for clients, they will talk about it on a per week basis, even if their programming is not aligned with the Gregorian calendar. So they will probably not say things like, well, I find that clients can recover from about 4 sets per muscle group every 3 days. They will usually say, yeah, I do 10 sets a week or 15 sets a week, or most of my clients are between 9 and 12 sets a week, or things like that. However, there are a lot more things to say against the idea of having to synchronize your training routine with specific days of the week. In practice, there can be various real-life issues that you can run into if you're too insistent on this synchronization. For example, what is your action plan if every training day is assigned to a specific day of the week? So Monday is chest day, Tuesday is leg day, Wednesday is arms, Thursday is back, and Friday is whatever, forearms and shoulders or something like that. And now you need to miss a training day, or worse, multiple training days. So let's say you need to miss a training session on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Are you going to move the entire program up by 3 days, which you needed to miss? So when you hit the gym again on Friday, then now you're going to do leg day, and then Saturday is going to be arms, and then Sunday is going to be back. Or are you just going to miss those days, and when you hit the gym on Friday, then you're just gonna do what you would normally do on Friday? Well, if you ask me, the correct choice would be option 1 for sure. So Friday would become leg day, but this is obviously going to mess up your schedule, because normally Sunday would be a rest day and then Monday would be chest. But now on Sunday, you're only at back day. And now Monday would have to become shoulder day, which would otherwise be Friday. Now, if you ask me, this should not be an issue, because now you're just going to do your shoulder day on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to be resting, and then Thursday is going to become chest day. But if you're super insistent on having your training days syncing up with specific days of the week, this is going to make you feel very uneasy. You might either feel inclined to just miss the training days that you had to miss altogether. So you're just going to say, okay, this week there was no arm day and leg day and back day. Or you might feel inclined to combine the sessions in some super hardcore way, or do 2-a-days on some days to make up for everything that you missed. And so you can still keep yourself to the same weekly rotation. This latter option might actually be even fine-ish, depending on how much training volume you have and how many exercises you have in a session. But I would say all of these options are trumped by simply moving your entire split up and picking up your training again when you have the opportunity to do so. And you also won't have any kind of anxiety about doing this if you are not super insistent on having to assign certain training days to specific days of the week. And the other issue with being too insistent on this is that it removes certain training setups off the table. For example, some of my favorite training rotations are not evenly matched as far as how many days of training the person does and how many different training days there are. Let me explain what I mean by that. An example of such a training rotation would be 6 days of training per week, but only 4 different training days. So the training days might be session A, session B, session C, session D, and we rotate through these 4 training days over 6 training days per week. So in that case, 1 week could look like A, B, C, D, A, B, and then the week after that would be C, D, A, B, C, D, and so on. Another much simpler example could be, I should have started with this probably, 3 training days a week, but only 2 different training days. So we have session A and session B, and we rotate through those. So 1 week could be A, B, A, and then the week after that would be B, A, B, and so on. And these odd training rotations are not there to be cool and different and unique. It is simply there because sometimes, not always, but sometimes, it is just the most practical way of programming the appropriate volume and frequency in terms of how often you hit a muscle group and how often you hit an exercise. For example, oftentimes I will want a lifter to hit an exercise more than once a week, but not quite twice a week. In that case, having this 4-day rotation over 6 training days is a very good way of setting that up. So for example, if you have an exercise on session A, but on none of the other training days, if you have this 4-day rotation and you train, say, 6 days a week, then if you do the math, then on average, you're going to be performing that lift 1.5 times a week. And that is just an excellent frequency to shoot for. And there are many small benefits like this, which you are going to miss out on if you're too insistent on this perfect synchronization between training days and days of the week. Now, there can be many real-life exceptions to this, which actually dictate that you have this kind of perfect synchronization. But I would say that for the most part, those are still exceptions and not the general rule. Second thing on this list is going to be the idea that each training day has to fit into a particular category, like push day, pull day, or chest and triceps, or back and legs. And once again, I will say that this idea used right can make programming for yourself, for your training, much more practical and intuitive, and it can give you what I would call useful constraints. Because in reality, there is almost an infinite number of ways in which you could put together a training program that could be viable or even optimal on paper. And if you don't have any constraints or limiters, then the billion options out there can be overwhelming. So I understand the appeal of using categories like push day or pull day because it already gives you a useful starting point. The issue begins when this useful limiter becomes a paralyzing barrier, which removes otherwise very useful options from the table. For example, maybe on your leg day, you're currently doing a squat variant and a deadlift variant as well, and you find that to be so demanding that it actually makes your leg days not as productive as they could be. So it could be helpful to put your deadlift variant, like an RDL, on your push day, which you find not nearly as demanding. But you feel like you cannot do that because a push day is not supposed to have RDLs in it, right? But the question is, why not? Another example could be you find that doing bicep curls at the end of your pull day is just not very productive because your arms are already fried and you can only use these baby weights, and you're sort of just not giving it your all anyway because you're tired and you're just going through the motions. So it could be helpful to move those curls onto one of the other days, like a push day or even a lower body day, because on those days you still feel like you could give it your all because your biceps are not fried already from all the pulling that you're doing. But you cannot do that because you're supposed to curl on pull day, right? And the reality is that there is just no reason why certain muscle groups could not be trained together, or why a day should follow any kind of very specific structure in terms of which muscle groups are hit. What should dictate which movement patterns you're performing on a given day or which muscle groups you're training on a given day is simply, what is the best way for me to distribute my weekly training volume for any given muscle group in a way so that the work that I perform is the highest quality work possible? And if your work output and fatigue levels are best managed in a session by having some really unconventional and ugly arrangement, such as training glutes and hamstrings and chest within the same session, then I would say you should go for that. And usually when people are trying to open up to this idea, they will go, all right, so we are doing full body sessions, but they don't have to be full body sessions. You can have a mostly push day, but you can also sprinkle in some bicep curls and some calves. And one of your pull days might indeed be entirely a pull day, but the other pull day might also have some calves or some quads. I'm not saying that you have to make your training split ugly like this just for the sake of it. What I'm saying is you should not remove these options from the table, because sometimes mixing your training up like this and breaking some of these conventions could downright revolutionize your training. Something that was causing you a lot of issues beforehand could disappear overnight, and you could all of a sudden feel that your sessions are a lot more productive, a lot less fatiguing, and a lot more enjoyable. And the last thing on our list today, and this is probably the most mind-bending, least easily acceptable by many people, is the idea that you can't train a muscle group on back-to-back days. Now again, at baseline, the idea that one should generally not train a muscle group on back-to-back days has a lot of practical utility. If you have the general rule of, okay, before hitting the same muscle group again, I'm going to have either a rest day or I'm going to train something else in between, it's going to safeguard you against a lot of bad decisions and training practices. Like if you're the kind of guy who, if left on their own devices, you would just way overdo volume, or you would just bench every day, then yeah, if you have this rule in place, then at worst, you're going to just bench every other day. So that can be a good thing. I will also say that in many scenarios, it is highly impractical to try to hit a muscle group on back-to-back days. For example, if you're someone who has very sensitive knees and doing a squat pattern or any kind of knee extension pattern for that matter just requires a lot of warm-up, otherwise your knees are screaming at you, then yeah, it absolutely makes sense to cram more of your quad training into fewer training days, maybe just one day of the week, and then you warm up once, and then you can fire away with your quad training in that session. So there can be many good reasons to not hit a muscle group on back-to-back days. However, the idea that doing this would make your muscles not able to recover, or you could downright block the muscle building process somehow by hitting it too soon again, is just not correct. That's just not a good reason to not do this. I mean, if we just think about this logically, most people are not only hitting a muscle group on back-to-back days, but they are hitting it on back-to-back minutes. I mean, if you do a set of bench presses and then you go over to the incline and do a set of incline presses, I mean, isn't that too soon? Most people don't seem to think so. And somehow we seem to think that there's something magical about doing something within one given session. Like somehow it's different if you're still within the same session, but then you do multiple exercises for the same muscle group, but then once a lot of time has passed, like a whole day, then now it becomes different. But that's not how it's working. It all moves on a spectrum. I mean, basically, moving another exercise onto a different day is just a rest period really far extended. Now, there are certain things that are going to be different, like you may have to warm up for that muscle group once again. That's a practical thing, and we already talked about that. These can be valid considerations for cramming more stuff into one given session, but from a recovery and muscle building standpoint, it is absolutely not valid to be worried about hitting a muscle group on back-to-back days. And that can be relevant because in some particular cases and in some scheduling scenarios, hitting a muscle group on back-to-back days would be just an infinitely more convenient way of getting in more volume and more high-quality training than any other method. I'm not saying that these scenarios are super common or that they are even the norm, but they do absolutely happen nonetheless. And in these scenarios, not being open to this idea could absolutely limit you needlessly. What anybody who is going to try this is going to notice is that when you move an exercise onto the next day, you're going to be instantly way stronger on that exercise. And that can be a problem by itself at certain times. Again, joint considerations, connective tissue considerations, if you have sensitive shoulders or elbows, yeah, it could be a problem that now you're way stronger on those lateral raises or on those tricep extensions. So you may have to manage that and you may have to plan for that separately. But these are factors and considerations that are no different than those that you will have to take into account when you make any other type of modification to your training. If you're going to increase your training volume, which could absolutely be something you might benefit from at certain times, that might come with certain new problems that you didn't have to deal with before, which now you will have to manage. That doesn't mean that by itself increasing your training volume was necessarily a bad idea. It just means that it's all a moving puzzle. When you change something, then some other things might have to change with it. So yes, if you decide to try to train a muscle group on back-to-back days, it might come with the added burden of having to manage certain things, which so far you didn't have to. That doesn't make the whole idea problematic or non-viable by itself. So yes, if you train chest on Monday, there is no inherent reason why you couldn't also train it on Tuesday. If you feel like doing that would benefit your chest training and it would objectively increase your total output in a high quality manner, then I would say there is no inherent reason why you couldn't go for that. So I believe those would be the 3 things on my list. These are things that a lot of people are worried about, but I really think that this worry is unwarranted because not only does this cause a lot of needless headache, but also you can deprive yourself from a lot of useful, valid options out there needlessly. So I hope you found this video useful and informative. Let me know what you thought about this in the comment section. If you liked the video, then please drop a like and subscribe for more content like this. If you'd like to work together with me in a coach-client format or do a consultation with me, you can reach me through my website, which is linked in the video description. And otherwise, I want to thank you for hanging around up until now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.